Yesterday, I had a nightmare. I dreamed of a children's program that I used to watch when I was little. I thought all day about the show, but I couldn't remember what channel it was on, to see if someone could give me more information. Anyone remember this children's program? It was called COVE. I would have been 6 or 7 years old when it aired. I haven't been able to find any reference to this show, but I think it was on a local station in 1971 or 1972. I was living in Ironton at the time. I don't remember the channel, but I remember that it was broadcasted around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Looks very familiar to me. Grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. COVE. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate puppet at the entrance of a cave, talking to a little girl. Yes, I'm not crazy. I remember the pirate Percy. He scared me. It looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Something very low budget. His head was a porcelain baby doll, which looked very old and didn't match the body. I don't remember the channel. I don't think it was at WTSF. Sorry to revive this old thread, but I know exactly what show you're talking about, Skyshale. I think COVE only came out for a couple of months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was on channel 58. My mother let me put it on after the news. Let me see what I remember. The place was Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself being friends with pirates. The ship's name was Laughingstock. The pirate's name was Percy, and he wasn't a very good pirate because he was easily frightened. And there was music constantly. I don't remember the girl's name, Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice. Thank you, Jaren. Memories came back to me when you mentioned Laughingstock in Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship. It had a smiling face, chin dipped. I especially remember how weird it was when they changed the wooden model to the puppet version so the face would talk. I agree too. Do you remember this, Skyshale? You have to go inside. Mike, I have goosebumps reading that. Yes, I remember. It was what the ship always told Percy when he had to go somewhere creepy, like a cave or a dark room where there was a treasure. And then the camera slowly zoomed in on Laughingstock's face. You have to go inside, with his squinty eyes and his chin that fell off. It looked so haughty and horrible. Does anyone remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache on a bunch of thin teeth. I honestly thought the villain was the pirate Percy. I was like 5 years old when this show aired. It was nightmare fuel. That wasn't the villain, the puppet with the mustache. That was his buddy Horatio Horrible. It also had a monocle, but was on the mustache. I remember I thought he only had one eye. But yes, the villain was another puppet. The Skin Stealer. I can't believe the things they let us see before. The Skin Thief? What kind of children's show were we watching? I really couldn't watch TV every time the Skin Thief showed up. He just came out of nowhere with his threads. He was a dirty skeleton wearing a tall brown hat and cape, and his glass eyes were too big for his skull. Weren't the hat and cap sewn very strangely? Wasn't it supposed to be children's skin? Yes, I think so. I remember that his mouth didn't open or close. His jaw only moved from side to side. I remember the little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the Skin Stealer didn't look at the little girl. He looked at the camera and said, "To take your skin." I am so relieved that people remember this horrible show. I used to have an unpleasant memory, like a bad dream where at the end of the song at the beginning of the show appeared from a black screen. And all the characters were there, but the camera sort of cut to each of their faces. And they were all screaming and the puppets were moving strangely. And there was only screaming. The girl only complained and cried as if she had been enduring all this for hours. I woke up many times with this nightmare. I used to wet my bed every time I had it. I don't think it was a dream. I remember that. I remember it was an episode. No, it's not possible. There was no story or anything. I mean, I was literally standing still crying and screaming throughout the entire show. Maybe I'm imagining things because you said that, but I promise I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Yes, the little girl Janice. I remember seeing her shake. And the hide thief was screaming through his slender teeth, his chin moving so aggressively that I thought it was going to break free of the metal threads that held him. I remember that I turned off the TV and that was the last time I saw the program. I ran to tell my brother and we didn't have the courage to turn on the TV again. I visited my mother today in the residence. I asked her when I was 8 or 9 years old if she remembered a children's show, Candle Cove. She was surprised that I remembered it. I asked her why, and she told me, because it seemed very strange to me that you told me I'm going to see Candle Cove, Mom, and then you put on the TV without programming any channel, and you only saw pure static for 30 minutes. You had a huge imagination with your little pirate program, son.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you on the next episode.